gonna say.
Some eyes and some scrolls and some purity seals.
For some reason, it looks like we're having technical.
I looked on eBay, but I can't find any 3D printed ones.
For some reason, it seems like we're having technical difficulties.
Well, if Connell's got the Garibay curse. He's in his car.
Yeah.
Got Justin with me as always.
And then these new metal ones that I got from StarCraft. The metal ones are really nice. Most of them.
The StarCraft minis.
They're Stargrave, but they're metal.
Oh, I don't know. I like the plastics.
I do too, but this was their pre-release, their version of the Kickstarter from what's their website called?
The miniature company.
North Star.
North Star. Yeah, North Star. North Star is a good company. They got a lot of stuff on there.
And they had a pre-release for the scavengers, and I ordered the whole, not like the distributor package, which was like 30 boxes, but like the biggest individual size package.
Yeah.
And the shipping wasn't too bad considering it came from England. They need an American distributor.
That's what shocked me with those models I put up on Brian's page last night. Those came from England too, or at least they came from wherever their distributor is here. It took a dog's age for them to get to me.
Yeah, Colin, I'm sorry I couldn't get you on the show, bud. We're never on shows together for some reason.
Yeah, I've been on a show with Connell a few times.
I have a couple of times.
Yeah, your show literally restarted.
What?
Yeah, your show just restarted like 1 minute ago.
2 minutes and 24 seconds ago.
Well, yeah,
What the happy horse shit?
I'm calling shenanigans.
I'm calling shenanigans.
Could have been some technical issue on their end, right? But
if anybody on the stream, if anybody in the comments has any old Space Marine bits, like scrolls or purity seals or any of that stuff, and they don't want it, email me at bowpaintsminis@gmail.com. I want to get those bits off your hand.
Yeah,
hey Bo, have you tried maybe using some blue stuff and then some followed up with some green stuff?
Yeah. You mean to cast some?
Yeah.
Oh, Raven, do me a favor and try to come on the show real quick to see if you actually can. I'm having issues having guys on the show. I'm having issues having people on the show. It'll just show a black screen. So if you don't mind,
hit the link.
Hit the link, or somebody in the audience hit the link. Mages, Raven, insert name. I don't really care who.
No, making purity seals out of green stuff is really easy. You just make a really, really small, like a snake, and then just roll it out flat. And then when it's about halfway dry, you just use a X-Acto knife and score it.
Yeah.
And easy peasy. You just have to use a little bit of Vaseline on your tools so they don't stick to the green stuff.
That mage is in.
That's a great freaking idea. I didn't know about the Vaseline. I need to remember that. Thanks, Bo.
Your boyfriend will appreciate that.
Put a little bit of Vaseline on your fingers and on your tools so that the green stuff doesn't stick to like your X-Acto knife or your sculpting tool or your fingers.
So you're using a different streaming software, huh?
Yeah, Restream because I'm not going to pay for StreamYard.
Well, StreamYards, I have to go through hoops when it's on my laptop. That's why I have the camera going. I have to go through hoops.
There's Raven. So I guess they just don't like Connell.
Holy shit! I didn't just have a seizure there, guys. Nor is my Tourette's acting up. Fuck! That was a big old bug. Morning, Raven. How you
Morning,
doing?
Raven.
Yeah, let me shift where the lighting is better. I keep getting shadow.
Yeah, that's my gig.
Yeah, Shadwell, what are you talking about? Your name is officially Shadwell. It's on your sign.
Shadwell.
I would literally have to have my tattoo redone, so that's not happening.
Jackie changed the sign on the last video they did where it said Shadwell, and he zoomed in on it a couple of times.
Bye, Raven.
Bye, Raven. Thanks.
Okay, I guess your audio's not working.
Yeah, she
Well,
has audio problems.
Maybe it's the streaming, so I don't think the streaming
what's
stuff
going on with me.
Yeah.
And I finally got Raven on my show.
I got Nathan to change his name to Shadractica on the paranormal show.
Nice.
Oh.
Or Shadow.
Shadow. Everywhere
I know
you
this-
go.
This is a 5e stream, but look what I got in my hand.
Hey!
Hey.
What is that?
What is this book you speak of?
I can't.
It's all word.
Oh. Yeah, I can't justify the price tag on that.
I can't justify the page count. There's too many pages in that too.
Hold that back up again there, Mage.
Is that the original keep?
That is the best dungeon module. D&D.
You can tell it's
To
somewhat
be.
shredded. This is the very one I had as a kid.
Yeah, I've still got mine. I've
Had it
actually
for
got a
40
couple
years.
of them. It's a great one, but White Plume Mountain's always going to be my favorite TSR module. I just
White
freaking
Plume
love
Mountain
that.
is great. White
That-
Plume Mountain is like number 2 in my
That
opinion.
black and white book you just held up has the right amount of pages for me.
OSC.
Was he?
No. That was the first book you held up.
295 pages.
That was the first book you held up. Then you held up the purple book, and then you held up another black and white book.
No, I didn't. I only hold up.
Just
Yeah. You held it right in front of your mouth.
This is. Yeah, I opened it.
Yeah, that's a purple book. Then after that, you picked something up.
Nope.
There was another book. It had words on. Yeah,
Coffee
yeah,
cup.
shut. That's a book. That book has the right amount of words on it for role playing.
Justin, you're such a dork.
Oh.
Okay, OSC is worth every penny, Shadow.
Well, any game's worth every penny if you're going to play.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm not gonna play it.
I'm not a VX whatever fan. Rules Encyclopedia, to me they're all more or less the same, and the subtle differences just weren't to my liking. Plus, I absolutely despise race as class.
I like Race's Class.
If I'm gonna play
Freaking
D&D, I like Race's Class.
I want the occasional dwarven thief or elf assassin or rangers, or other than they're all just one freaking homogenous thing. I know you can mix it up and make them different, but there comes a point where those changes are finite in comparison to what you can do with first edition.
I don't disagree. First edition is my preferred game, but I found, probably about a year and a half ago when I got into an OSE game, and I hadn't played basic D&D since the 80s, and it was kind of refreshing. It was like, oh wow, a nice pared back casual game that I can just have fun with. Whereas when I play AD&D, I go all in. I use all the nuance, and it's a little more of a what's the word I'm looking for? It's just a little more of an in-depth experience. Whereas OSE is a lot of fun because it's casual. Even my game is a drop-in game for the players. So each has its strength. It depends on what you're looking for. But I agree. In a long-term game, I want race and class split.
Yeah.
But
I want to say
I can
this.
appreciate combination.
Insert name? No. No Dwarven Wizards.
Yeah, well,
I don't know. Dwarven
This is-
magic's pretty cool. Wherever they're
right, but
locked
here's the
around,
thing.
they
Here's
can-
the thing.
They can cast that
Uh,
spell.
if you're gonna give dwarves the magical ability, you've got to take away a whole lot of the other stuff that they got because they couldn't cast magic in the traditional sense. The resistance to magic and a lot of the other things were put in there because they're never going to be allowed to be wizards. If you want to take that out and do that and run your own setting where wizards or dwarves could be wizards, that's fine. It's your world. But from the very get-go, dwarves were meant, and hobbits were meant to have this high constitution and this high resistance because they just couldn't do it. They had to do it through material means, through rune carving and the creation of the items that would then later be enchanted by wizards or priests or what have you. They had their own lane. They were meant to stick in it from the beginning, but, there is no reason why you can't have that outlier or change things, Races can evolve and at the same time, lose things while gaining things. So if that's what you want to do, cool, but I'm a traditionalist. I like the old, Gimli-style dwarves. But
when I'm
do.
playing D&D, I 100% agree with you. When I'm playing D&D, I don't like the idea that dwarves can be wizards. I'm playing 5e, fine. It is what it is. But I don't think it was a great shift for 5e. I understand why they did it. But I like that.
Buckling to the
for
crowd.
the same reasons.
That's, I think, one of the worst things about that company is that their politics is based not just on internalizing hate, but buckling to anyone who asks them anything of the right political persuasion. So if some purple-haired kid says, I want a dwarven wizard, that's official in the book now.
Right.
Not because it's good for the story, but because it won't hurt some expletive delete's feelings.
Care about that.
Another problem I have with the race versus class is it eliminates magic users and clerics from races that clearly absolutely have to have them. If you don't have dwarven clerics, that makes literally no sense. And if you don't have elven magic users who can actually make magic items, then how do they make magic items? How did the Cloak of Elven Boots come into being? How do elves make magic weapons and things like that? By the rules, you have to have magic users that can get to 12th and 18th kind of levels to make things permanent, make permanent magic items. Without those, you don't have what? It's only allowed for the NPCs. That kind of
basically that's it. You're forgetting that the rules of the world at large aren't necessarily the same as the rules the players have to follow. That's classical.
Yeah.
So the DM will say, okay, ancient elven wizard or ancient elven priest created this item. That doesn't mean you can be the elven priest, but in the greater lore, that does exist.
But at the same time, you can have a human wizard who can go on to cast the wish spell.
That's
eventually, yeah.
What?
That's the thing about humans. They have that potential to get that power.
What did you just say?
So that's a indication of Gygax's inherent racism.
I'm okay with
that. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. But if, according to second edition, not second edition, Unearthed Arcana, elven magic users could go high enough to actually kind of facilitate magic items. But it was still, the idea that, humans are best, period, full stop, is still prevalent there.
Because humans are best superior.
No, yeah. The problem is that it's a patch, it's a crutch. So what you're doing is the system is inherently flawed at its base. You're saying that humans can be this and elves can be that and hobbits can be this. So instead you give the elf the ability to see in the dark because humans can be can have these other classes. So you're adding patch on patch on patch on patch. Instead of fixing the problem with the system, you put another patch on it. And it's just garbage in, garbage out at that point. Why not where if you want to see in the dark, you pay 5 points of the privilege. Or if you want to cast a magic spell, you pay 5 points of the privilege, and then it really is balanced out.
So
we
it's,
can-
not
what do you call it?
It's a class-based, level-based game, and it's inherently flawed.
it's
No,
curing
no,
the wound and not the symptom and not the wound.
Seriously,
It's a feature, not a bug.
if you're playing like a full party of humans, the game should be easier for your party than all elves because it's a challenge level.
Right. Well, you got to also look at the fact that the near
Dwarves.
the near immortality or longer lifespans of not just elves and dwarves, but also gnomes and hobbits. There is no way other races can compete with that in the long run. It's such the smart player could easily use that to his advantage in ways that even Gygax didn't and couldn't foresee.
Max agrees that it's a bad stream title unless we're actually talking about 5e.
That's the point. You filthy.
Hello, Max.
Capellan.
Happy belated birthday.
Max,
No,
looking
you
forward
don't-
to seeing you tonight, buddy.
You don't wish filthy Capellans anything positive, okay?
Villains are people too.
Are they? Are
Now-
they really?
Shadow, you're saying that it doesn't make sense that long-lived creatures, this wouldn't advance to great levels. But I think the point is you make sense of it. It's like, all right, here's the cap. Here's the level cap. Sure, an elf lives 1,500 years. Let's say first edition, for example. But that doesn't mean their minds or their brains are capable of excelling.
Right, but if you take a look at the appendix from Lord of the Rings, which we have to because it's a huge inspiration to D&D, Legolas and Gimli were so still not done adventuring that when the book is over, they decided to write a whole new chapter that we'll never see, where they'll go off and continue to explore because they haven't reached their limit.
Shadow.
Well, that's Middle Earth lore,
Shadow.
Right.
And while AD&D was inspired in part by Lord of the Rings and other things, AD&D world and the rules are still their own beast.
Yes.
Right. So I find the justification within the game why they're capped, because I hold to the caps. I don't dismiss them when I play first edition. I hold to the level caps. So why is it, right? And I look at all the races. Why is it that the races are capped? And then lore wise, this is pure lore. This is the way it works in my game. Is I have it that the humans were the first. A lot of people have it the other races came first. The humans were first, and all the other races were the gods' attempt to replicate humanity, because humanity came into existence on its own, and the gods found humanity and said, "What is this?" and tried to replicate it, and that they didn't get it right. That's why they can't.
Yeah,
advance.
I can't buy into that. It seems if that was the case, then
Well,
elves.
you don't have to.
No, what I mean is
that's just
elves
the
would be
explanation of my game.
elves would be such a brand new species that they wouldn't even know that they had a lifespan. You know what I mean?
Human, it's not new. It's humans have existed in our current form for what 200, 300,000 years.
Mhm.
So that's plenty of time for history. And then once you scatter across the universe, there's any number of ways to explain it. Now, but that's lore. That's pure fluff. But you go back to pure mechanics, and obviously the given explanation is balance, right? They always say, well, non-humans can only go so far because that's balance. And I've heard all the arguments. They say that's bullshit. It doesn't ruin your game if you let them go as far as they want, and other people hold to the balance.
I don't know. Like, I would allow them to go further, but at a much slower rate.
That's one solution I've tried over the years.
Yeah.
Well,
I had a thing where every level after their cap, it was half. They get half and half and half. Eventually, they're going so slow that it didn't matter. But ultimately, I decided, I'm gonna adhere to the caps because it's also simple.
Yeah.
And this is from a practical gaming perspective.
Yeah, you don't wanna have to do
Doesn't that kind of funnel the humans toward the highest levels of gameplay? Where at some point your elves are like, I can't go up, and you guys have gone literally like 5 or 10 levels above my cap, and I just can't.
It will, in theory.
In theory.
You know what I mean? It's like,
I
okay,
run a
time to retire an elf
slow game,
instead of
too.
play a human.
Well, Squirrel
You know,
says that they retire at 12th level and enjoy the rest of their damn life and then read the Burning Wheel.
I'll tell you, in my games, if characters haven't died by the time they're 8th level, then
Sounds
It's
weird.
usually rare that there's an advanced.
Yeah,
it's pretty
because all it takes is
If you
one
haven't
critical
died
hit
by
from-
his level, I've done fucked up.
all it takes is one critical hit from
I don't
War
aim to
Duke,
kill them; they just die.
one critical hit from War Duke in Black or White Plume Mountain, Shadow's favorite,
Hold on, I'll be right back, guys.
and you're dead.
Yeah.
So here's the thing, and I do agree with the balance aspect to a degree, especially if you're playing the abilities correctly.
Mage's musing. You have hit 7th level. Now to adventure in the lands of instant death.
I see you've played in my game. All right, who said that?
He said,
Oh, that wasn't. I thought you were reading a comment.
No, that was just off the top of my head. I said your name because it's a quote, right?
So let's look at elves for instance, because they're the popular one. Because the elves in first edition get incredible stealth. Like their stealth is off the charts. People don't play stealth right, and I've seen elves get nerfed. So yeah, give them a few extra levels if you're not using stealth right. But if you're using stealth correctly in first edition, elves are bloody devastating, because first edition has a segmented combat round system. I don't know how many of you are super familiar with first ed, but and an elf, if you're playing by the book, can get up to 4 segments of surprise on an enemy baseline, which means that's 4 segments of action that they can do things in the combat round. Now, also remember that missile fire can be tripled if you have surprise. So an elf with a tripled rate of fire, and you get a platoon of elves all moving at super stealth, say 12 elves, each with a longbow, triple rate of fire, you're looking at what is it? So you get 12, 24, triple that is 72 shots in a melee if they get their surprise and triple their rate of fire, right? You can see how elves are just going to wipe the floor with everybody. So yeah, you want to say, okay, well, they have this great top-loaded ability, so we got to take something off the back end, and that back end is the ability to get super high in level.
Because if they're getting all these bonuses to start off with, do they need all those special abilities from high level?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, isn't there like a more logical way to balance it other than just, making them so undesirable as player characters because of their level limitation? Isn't there something that actually makes more biological and physical sense? Because you're saying that they're just completely unmotivated or unable to learn the higher concepts when they've got literally all the time in the world.
See, I don't buy
Maybe their perception of time is different.
I don't.
Maybe 100 years to them is the same as 3 hours to us.
I don't buy that they're
part of the fun is
undesirable to
playing
play.
that.
I don't buy that they're undesirable to play because when I first started playing D&D, it was the red box, and my first character was a dwarf, and I didn't give a shit about level cap.
Yeah.
Also,
No, I was explicitly referring to long-term play. Yeah, in a short-term game, oh yeah, hell yeah, they're going to rule the day, and the DM's going to have a hard time. But when you're getting up into 9th, 10th, 15th level, for those of you who do that, you're kind of screwing that player.
I played that character for years.
I never have a hard time.
Yeah.
I want my players to use their abilities. I want them to see, holy shit, I can do this.
No, I get that. I'm talking, the muggles out there that aren't us.
I don't know. I think you're one of those models, man.
Sorry, guys.
But
Proud muggle.
that becomes part of the choice there, Shadow. That becomes all right, do I want to take the top-loaded abilities? And,
What was that?
And then I got to deal with it when I get to the long term. Now, the other thing with elves is they can multi-class.
Yeah.
Now, multi-classing will slow them down enough that you will
Absolutely. And can actually, believe it or not, there was a formula. I think it was like you actually took like the average of their 2 levels and then added like 2 or 3 to get an idea of what level they actually were.
What level they are, something like that. Yeah,
because they were a fighter, an elven fighter magic user is at first level is just, provided you got at least a 16 constitution, you were going to make everybody else just feel inferior for levels and levels and levels. I've seen it time and time again, but later on down the road, people will catch up.
Now, how does this work in 5th edition? I just have to go back to the
In 5th edition, I believe people can change their profession, if not almost their race, at the drop of a hat or a level up, right?
You can't change your race, but yeah, if you're going by multi,
Give them time. Give them time.
You can
Transracialism
when you get a new
is a
level,
thing.
if you meet the requirements, you can take a new class. That's how.
So like a barbarian can become a monk.
If he has the requirements. A lot of people ignore those, but there's still requirements. By the book, you have to have a 13 in all of your prime requisites. And usually the barbarian has probably lowered his wisdom to 8, so he's not becoming a monk. Likewise, the monk trying to become the barbarian, unless his strength and his con are 13, he's not going to do it. A monk, usually I've seen monks dump that strength, oddly enough, when they in 5th edition, because they have to heighten their wisdom and they have to heighten their dexterity to get all the bonuses.
And that's not even including the alignment contradiction that I just brought up, because
alignment is meaningless in 5th ed.
I remember
it's there, but it doesn't mean.
I never really liked it because I know a lot of people I've played with just don't follow it.
In 1E,
so what's the
in 1E, I played a monk up to 5th level, and then I dual classed where I dropped my monk levels and became a mage, and I couldn't use any of my monk abilities. No, I did it. Started off with a mage,
and then became a monk. Yeah, I was going to say you can't do it the other way around. Once you leave monk, you lose your monk ability.
Yeah, I started with mage. I got up to 5th level where I could cast 3rd level spells, fireball, and stuff like that, and then I became a monk. And when I got to 6th level, I could use my 5th level mage abilities.
Right. That's dual classing.
Yeah, so I dual classed that way. And I would rather have dual classing in my games than multi-classing.
I use both.
Yeah, because dual class is for
specifically human.
Yeah. Multi-class is for everybody else.
In 1E, everybody else don't need the ability to multi-class because they could just go up to whatever level they want.
I just don't get it.
I mean, in 5e you can do that.
I don't get the concept of not being able to learn a new skill on the adventure. Like people argue about this, and it's like, no, if I'm some barbarian wizard or warrior walking through the valley and I find a scroll and I'm hanging out with Wizard Magic Pants and he tries to teach me Fireball and I freaking learn that shit, I should be able to use it.
Right. Learning to read that scroll or cast that spell is far different than all the other things that a human magic user has to do to become 1st level. It takes them 10 times longer for a human to become a wizard than it does to become just about any other profession because of the learning.
It's an example, right? It's an example.
Right.
Picking up the ability to light a campfire is not the same as picking up the ability to throw a fireball.
Yeah, no shit. You can learn how to track. You can learn how to track.
I'm just throwing this out as an example.
Learn how to
learn things.
But you can learn how to track, learn how to repair your armor, actually learn a proficiency in a new weapon while you're out on an adventure.
Yeah.
If somebody takes the time to teach you during downtime. Learning how to cast Fireball as a barbarian, you're out of your top picking mind.
That's exactly what I want. I want an axe in one hand and a fireball in the other.
Who doesn't?
Then you have to give up your barbarian ways and leave your tribe and go to civilization where there's an academy and face all the racism there for being a backward, backward tribe.
I'm okay with racism. It's in my middle name.
So then, in that regard, you can pick up a new skill. But learning magic is not picking up a new skill. That learning magic is a whole process.
my point, right? Like the excessive separation of disciplines is absurd in most role-playing games.
You also remember we're playing a game. We can't perfectly imitate reality.
Well, but
we need a framework that we exist by. Yeah. Sorry, Shadow.
Wait, are you telling me dragons aren't real? I'm pretty sure I saw this rule 43 of Shadow and a Dragon the other day.
If you saw some of the other circles I hang with, you'd understand that shock.
Oh.
It's not fast enough to hit that mute button. Sorry, guys.
That wasn't the racetrack. That was his wife.
All right. Race car backwards is race car.
Yes,
Right?
it is.
Yeah.
Race car
Palindrome.
sideways is Paul Walker.
Oh shit! Oh shit! You bastard!
Did you know that mother-in-law is an anagram for woman Hitler?
Hitler wasn't that bad.
Hitler was the
in comparison.
last upright man to ever walk this earth.
Hey, you know, there's a difference with getting roasted by a German in 2023 as opposed to getting roasted by a German in 1943.
Ouch. That stinks.
Get a little too political there, Hungar.
Not for this channel.
Now they've only had one meth reference.
I don't know. I don't know these
Wait.
guys.
We've
I
had
don't
a
know
meth
any of these
reference? We've had a meth reference? I missed it.
I thought you made a meth reference.
I don't remember.
No, Jackie's not here today. We're going to do a show on a weekend now, so we can get Jackie on.
Yeah.
His supreme spy sneakiness abilities.
Yeah.
Is that right, Shadwell?
We need that weekly methany report.
Speaking of that, these two shows have gone on for a bit, and I have to go grocery shopping and take my car into the shop again.
This
So I'm going to introduce this. Shadow, we know what you got going on. You're on every YouTube channel out there.
Yes, well, you know, it's a hard life, man.
Bo, what you got going on?
I'm gonna paint a little bit this morning. I'm gonna get those ribs, get the dry rub on, and get them back in the refrigerator, and then I'm gonna go get a haircut. Oh, I'm gonna go to the gym. I'm gonna be at the gym at 12:30. And then again tonight, I've got I'll probably catch a little bit of the Gatekeepers, and then I'm gonna go to teach my night class.
Mages?
I took a break from editing Friday's video to come on and yammer with you guys, but that's what I'm working on, just editing videos, getting them ready, catching up my old school Central recaps. I'm 8 behind now. I'm hoping to get them all caught up by October.
By October? I'm sure you'll get them done before then.
Well, maybe. I mean, I'm also adding as I play games. We have a game Friday that I have to prepare for, but so as I add them, the backlog increases. But I'm doing Dungeon Ministers Convention in November. So,
nice.
Where's that located?
It's north of Acton, I think. So about 45 minutes from Toronto. But I'm running tables for them, and what I've decided to do is the tables will share continuity with the recap stories. So I want to have the recaps caught up, so anybody who sits at my table knows exactly what's going on. Right? They have the option of watching the videos to know what the scenario is. It's not mandatory, but fun little thing.
That sounds freaking awesome. I wish I could be there. Justin, are you going to go?
I don't know yet.
He's literally a 40-minute drive.
I walk everywhere.
Justin, don't drive.
Bandits Keep is driving 12 hours to be at this con. You can make 40 minutes.
Also, remember, guys, this Friday,
I'll think about it.
The show will be on Justin's channel.
Yeah, apparently I got to do this stuff on Friday now. You better be on your best behavior if you're coming on. I expect you.
Everybody's coming on to roast you.
I expect the best behavior from all of you. That means 30 minutes of nothing but Hitler talk.
They're going to behave for you the way you behave for them, so you're in big trouble.
Yeah, I expect that. That's best behavior.
All right. And with that note, everybody have a great day. Thanks for tuning in. Like and subscribe if you're not. Check out everybody else's channels. If you're on my channel and you're not subscribed to Mages Musings and Shadow and Sun, what the hell's wrong with you?
Bo paints minis.
No, we don't mention Bo.
Don't mention me.
Bo don't get a mention. Remember?
I never get a mention.
He's the unmentionable.
He's Bo and he paints minis. How hard is it to mention him?
Yeah, his channel is Bo
But-
Paints Minis. His email address is BoPaintsMinis.
At gmail.com. Drop me a line.
He's Bo. Thanks for coming on, guys. Like and subscribe.
Shauner is going to be very
Subscribe to everybody
disappointed in all
else.
of you.
Remember, Shauner, keep up that Hello Kitty Islands Adventure stream going, man. It's
Yeah, I
incredible.
expect you to unlock the ultra pink skin by the end of the week.
Oh, he'll show you some ultra pink skin.